Well, just like that, we're back. Hey friends, patriots, truth seekers, fellow Americans who really want to see this country get back to normal. Welcome, welcome, welcome. On behalf of Lewis and myself, thank you so much for joining us. It was an interesting day today for me. We kind of forget that. And one of the things that was kind of interesting today was I redid this show, I kid you not, at least 3 different times. I'll give you a little bit of insight into what I do. Normally I go back and I build the show from the last stories, and I build in the first stories are kind of the breaking news. And I had them all squared away. It's 12 noon. It's about 3 o'clock here now in California. It's about 12 noon. I'm like, I got my stories. I'm good. I'm ready to go. I was ready to take the show on the road and take off here. And then you look at the stories and well, now it's old news because now more information came out. And more information came out. Now, what I was going to share, I can't share, so I got to delete it. I got to start all over again. And it's that kind of thing right now. And I think the news is just popping and things are just coming at us so quickly that you really have to be on top of it. And sometimes it's not easy. Sometimes it does take a little extra effort. And today was certainly one of those days. Now, I'm not complaining about that. We have all wanted, and Asher, I saw your comment, we've all wanted this to happen. We saw that, we wanted to see this unfold, and it's unfolding. And as it unfolds, things are going quicker and quicker and quicker. Now, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Robert Imbriali, and I have been a lifelong truth seeker, although I'd never called myself that until recently. But I've always been the type of person to look at things through the lens of common sense. And I think all of us need to learn how to do that more because there's just so much coming at us right now, and there's a lot of disinformation on both sides, by the way. Both sides, disinformation. We're going to see that a little bit in some of the stories that I'm going to share with you today. So we got to be able to see, cut through it. And, you've got to trust your gut at this point. You've got to say, okay, does this make sense? This is what they're telling me. I'm going to run it through the common sense filter. And when it comes out the other side, does it still make sense? Or are there pieces missing? What's happening is we're being lied to a lot of times by omission. So if we're not in the habit of asking questions, we're just going to buy the narrative wholesale. I've always been that guy who asks questions, which is why I've been such a great coach and been helping so many people over the course of my career. I was kind of a natural born coach, if you will. And it wasn't until I got trained professionally with Tony Robbins and all of that I started to do it for money. But, it's always been that way. And you got to listen for, and I call it the coach's ear. The coach's ear hears the words that aren't spoken. And that's what we need to do. And a lot of these news stories that are coming at us and a lot of the information that's coming at us, there's a lot of unspokenness here. So how do we figure that out? As we ask better questions. We got to ask a lot of questions. We got to keep questioning the narrative. We keep questioning as they're throwing this stuff at us and throwing it at us because it's coming and it's coming faster and faster. And we've got to be the ones who are on top of it. I want to get started today by one of the strategies that if you really want to understand, let's say you're in a negotiation, let's say you're in a dispute, let's say you're getting divorced, let's say, whatever the story is where there's an adversary, right? What you want to do to understand them is you want to be able to step into their shoes for a moment. You don't want to stay there, obviously, but you want to step in their shoes. You want to kind of see things through their eyes. Now, when you're able to do that, this is a very mature thing. A lot of people can't do this. They're like, I'm stuck in my ways. It's a very mature thing to be able to see the other side. When you can see the other side, you can understand the other side, and then you have a better chance of solving the situation in a way that is advantageous to you. So if I look at the people in this battle, Israel and Palestine, right? If I look at that and I say, okay, we know Israel's side. Israel's, they're altruistic and they want what's best for their people. But how about the Palestinians? Don't they want what's best for their people too? They do, right? That's the same motivation, if you will. The huge difference. When you hear Allah Akbar, right? And you have these people going around. So they're not doing this thinking, I'm doing a bad thing. They're thinking they're doing God's work, as we always call it here in America. I'm doing God's work. Well, God's work to them is a completely different meaning than it is for us. Why is there conflict? Because those two things are diametrically opposed, right? The one end of the broomstick, the other end of the broomstick is completely flipped, is backwards. So how do we get to resolution? That is a good question. I don't have that answer. But we've got to stand strong in our beliefs. And I always say that you got to do that. And I think for all of us, understanding the other side, understanding their motivation helps us to understand, we're dealing with people who, to every cell in their body, to every core of their bone, they're believing that what they're doing is the right thing. Now, I'm not taking sides here. I'm just saying it's an ideology. Remember, we're in an ideological war, and we have that going on in this country too. So I don't want to focus too much over there because it's very complicated in religion and everything else. It gets much more, there's much more nuance to it than there is here. But we're looking at the different ideologies. So the ideologies that we're fighting here are the globalists versus, I'll call us the capitalists, right? The people who believe we want to make our own way. We want to use our own resources. We want to be able to create the kind of success we want to create for ourselves, as opposed to what? The globalists who say what? Well, you shouldn't drive more than 15 minutes. You actually shouldn't even own a car. You shouldn't own a house. You should rent, right? You should have a very small carbon footprint. Our environment, it's not, but that's what they want you to believe. And they use that as a tool. So the globalists want you small. The capitalists want you big. Diametrically opposed, right? So we're in that battle too. And we have so many of these at every level of our society. And it's really important to understand the other side, not because you want to become them, but you want to understand where they're coming from. You have a better chance of winning the day if you do. They don't want to hear our side. I get that. The Dems don't want to hear our side. I get that. They don't want to hear anything. But if we can understand them, then we have a better chance of defeating them and winning the battles. It's over. It's done. It's out of the media. You don't hear anything now. There's very little coming out of there. But these are the battles. We're in this, sort of not never-ending battles, it would seem. It's going to get dark, and then at some point, sun's going to break through the clouds and things are going to get better again. So we're just keeping focus there. It's like, we know we've got to go through this rough period. We know we've seen it. We've role played it. We've, looked at it through looking glass and everything else. We know it's going to get rough. We got that. Okay. Understand that. But we also know at the other side, it gets a lot better. As Lewis was talking about yesterday, he said, we've got to rebuild all our institutions. You're right. Big pharma's got to be rebuilt. Big tech has to be rebuilt. There has to be morality put back into it, right? Big military industrial complex, that has to be redone. Can't go on the way it is. All of it, all these different pieces. So we're going to get to a point where these things will get broken down one way or another. And it's a little bit like driving a car right now. And then, the back fender just fell off. We just lost a bumper. And then, it feels like that's what's going on in our society. These pieces are being dropped off. We're going to get to the other side. We're going to get to rebuild it. Wouldn't that be cool? You just have a nice frame and you can make anything you want out of it, right? You get that clay and get to mold it the way you want to mold it. You could post those videos on YouTube where people could see them and you could actually help people. Wouldn't that be cool? I think we're going to get there. And I don't think it's far off. I actually do believe it's not that far off. Thinking maybe, by the middle of next year, it's going to be a different world we're going to be living in. I don't know. Don't take my word for it. See how it feels. Try it on for yourself. If the shoe fits, you're in the right direction. If it doesn't, try a different pair of shoes. You'll figure it out. And I think we're going to get there. I think we're going to get to a point where things are much better. All right. Before we get rolling, I want to talk to you about ScrewBigGov. If you haven't been over, screwbiggov.com. That's Lewis's website. That's where all the good stuff happens. Got a lot of stuff there on the homepage. And we're going to update that homepage really shortly, so I'm going to have to update this photo as well. If you haven't seen Cages yet, please go watch it. It's very pertinent and it brings a lot of clarity to what we're going to be talking about today. Also, there's the swag button at the bottom center, and that's where you'll find t-shirts for rememberyouroath.com. That's where they're being sold right now. So either go to rememberyouroath.com or go to ScrewBigGov and click on that button, and it'll take you to the same place. You can purchase t-shirts for as low as $10. We're selling them pretty much at cost, and a lot of people have been buying them. And ignore the misspelling of the word Constitution on the photo there. Lisa just got back, so she's going to update that. Your shirts will be spelled correctly, I promise you. You're not going to get a misspelled shirt. It will be spelled correctly. And then there's a button in the bottom right. Make sure you click on that to go find Lewis's Telegram channel, because that's where you'd like to follow him. He's hard to find on Telegram, but that helps you a lot. I'm on Telegram as well, Renegade Media, t.me/Renegade Media. You'll find me there, or you can email me at robert@renegademedia.tv. A lot of people ask, how do I reach you? That's how you reach me. Send me your stories, send me your tips, send me, whatever you're coming across, and certainly your comments. There's one lady that commented, for instance, yesterday that she's having trouble with Rumble, that the voice is out of sync with the video. That can happen when there's a slow internet connection, when there is a problem with the app, right? I've seen that a lot on the mobile app on iPhone. And so close the app, start the app over, reboot the iPad, make sure your internet connection is really strong. Little things like that help a lot. But I always check the stream as well. After we're done, I go back and watch a little bit of it just to make sure, technically things are working the way we expect them to work. So that's the kind of thing you could share with me. I appreciate it. All right. Donald Trump had a little post on Truth Social a little while ago. This is about an hour ago or so. I'm at one of many going in the Middle East. They're like, we don't want to see you. Stay home. You've got nothing to offer, right? Will you stay awake long enough even to have a meeting? I mean, come on. And Donald Trump is right. There's no respect for America, certainly in this environment. And we're seeing that. And it's really sad. I really think that, we're a laughing stock as a country. We are a laughing stock. But you know what? It's just the leadership. It's not us, the people. We, the people, know better. And we're going to be back in charge before very long. There's just too much now. As we were talking about how many of the narratives that come out do we bust through? I mean, I was thinking about that last night after the show. I was thinking about how many of these narratives have come about that you, me, all of us have debunked really quickly. Right, when the whole thing in Israel broke out, within an hour, I was already seeing pieces that didn't line up. And I wasn't the only one. Other people were seeing it too. I'm not saying I'm the best here. A lot of people were seeing that too. And they were seeing the story doesn't line up. And we're going to have some videos on that too. But the story that's breaking now, and the one that I'm trying to get back and forth with, information, is this one about the hospital in Gaza that was blown up. We don't really yet know who blew it up. They're kind of blaming each other on this one. They're saying there's 500 plus casualties. I think the number now is 900. Like I said, it's been changing hourly here. This is from Zero Hedge earlier today. Able to do that? I think so. There's a pretty good chance that we certainly wouldn't be in the position we're in right now, because he was displaying what? He was displaying strength. This country is strong. We're resolute. We're not going to play games with you guys. Fed. And he's certainly questioning. I'm questioning it. You probably are questioning it as well. And, we're looking for what are the real answers here. We may not find them right away. To be honest with you, we're still looking for answers in Maui. And I've got some Maui videos to show you to kind of give you an update on what's been going on over there. Nothing great, really. There's just, the people are suffering. And that's really what we're going to see here today. But, you're asking the questions. You got to be asking more and more of these, because the information is coming, but it's not coming from official sources. So where is it coming from? The alternative media, the people that they want to make it a criminal offense for you to watch. That's where it's coming from. And, thank God for Elon Musk and Twitter. All this stuff is being posted there and not being kicked off, not being blocked. And that was a useless place. I didn't spend any time on Twitter before Elon Musk took it. I had 19,000, almost 20,000 followers there. It was over 20,000 for a while. And I didn't spend any time there. I never posted. I didn't bother with it because it was all censored. And what you were seeing was very watered down. You weren't getting really much information. And Twitter was it was designed to be like America's newsroom, right? It was up to the minute news. It was citizen journalists. I'm here. I'm posting something. Bam, it's 2 clicks and it's posted. It's out there. So it's a very great tool for that. And now that Elon has taken it over again, it's become that again. So this kind of video and this kind of thing, this is where we're going to break through a lot of these narratives. I'm not saying you need to get our Twitter account, but you got to find these places. No. So Twitter, Telegram, two great places. Some people say TikTok, the three T's, right? It's just really funny how it worked out that way. And Trump, you could add him, the fourth, that would be the fourth one, Truth Social. There you go. So there's four T's. Maybe that's where we look at it. And that's where you're going to get your news from. Strange, but you're not going to get it from ABC, CBS, NBC, MSNBC, all of these guys, CNN, all of these. You're just not going to get it. And certainly Fox is included in that as well. Now, I would include Newsweek too. I know Newsweek has come over a little bit, but it's just here and there. They're not totally there yet. And until they get there, I'm not really going to spend a lot of time promoting them. All right. We go from Israel and the border and Russia and Ukraine and everything that's going on over there. How about our border? What's going on there? I don't hear a whole lot of it. Certainly in mainstream media, it doesn't exist. There is no border issue. Mainstream media, it's secure. There's nothing going on until you get a guy like Ben Bergquam who goes down to the desert that maybe there's not that many coming across, although he was showing in this report too, and this is posted, by the way, if you want to see the full report, I've got the video up on Renegade Media on Telegram, which I'm going to put all the videos that we're using today there, so you can have access to them and share them out if you want to. But he was showing that, within hours, there were people that were being picked up there. So there are people coming across. It's not like nobody's coming across, but it just may not be, quote unquote, a hotspot area. I don't know. Maybe harder to cross there, maybe because it's a longer run before you get anywhere, but it's unmanned, completely unmanned. There's no surveillance, there's nothing going on, so we don't know at all who's coming up. Kind of interesting in the kind of society, the kind of world we live in right now, that would be the case, right? You would think it would be the other way around, and it brings that same question up in Israel. It's like, why wasn't their border protected? What was going on there? Well, Charlie Kirk said, because, Netanyahu was going to have a major protest. They wanted him out. They wanted to get rid of him. So when a politician is in trouble, what do? How do they get back in good? We talked about it yesterday. George W. Bush, what did he do? Right? He was in trouble. And then we had 9/11. Oh, what a gift that was. And good questions. I don't know. We're going to keep asking these questions because it is important to pay attention to. I told you guys Maui was important. I've been telling you Maui is important. Maui is something to keep our eyes on. So I went in today because I had not heard anything anywhere about Maui in a while. Really, since the beginning of September. I think it was probably the last reports that we've gotten out of Maui. A lot of the reporters that were there have left. The fire's out and whatever, and we don't really know what's going on. It's been very quiet. So I went into Google and I tried to search there and I didn't get very much. And I went into Yandex and I searched and all of a sudden I found some videos. I found some recent reports from the last week. Some of them in mainstream media, by the way. It's one I'm going to share with you here today. And it was kind of interesting because it's almost like they didn't want the information to come out. They didn't want the reporters in there. They kicked all the reporters out. And they won. The reporters gave up at some point. And they stopped reporting. They left. They went home. They're not there anymore. They were threatened. You saw that report that we did with Nick Sorter, who was on Maui, and he was being harassed as he was doing a live hit on Steve Bannon's show. And they were chasing him, and he had to run back to his car to get out of there because he didn't know what this guy was up to. They intimidated them. So I guess all the media left, and there's really nothing more coming out of there. So it took a while to dig and find, but I did find some videos I want to share with you. This was a news report. It's a little bit long. It's a 3.5-minute clip, but it's a news report. And, we talk about being in a period of disclosure, right? What is disclosure? Disclosure is the information they tried to keep from us is coming out. And more of it comes out because of you, because of me, because of all of us, our digital soldiers, that we keep doing what we do. We don't stop. We don't stop asking questions. We don't stop pushing buttons. We don't stop searching until we get to the truth. And then we got to make sure the truth gets out there. So it's finding it is one thing. And then number two is make sure it gets out there. Spread it, right? That's why we do the Telegram channel. So you have stuff that you could spread. If you're looking for, what do I need? Where can I spread? Well, this is where you can spread it. You can grab the tools here and then you could push it out. Telegram's great for that. So this is a news report. And they were talking here about what was going on the day of the fire. The notifications that, quote unquote, were supposed to go out. Remember, the sirens didn't go off? And now they're trying to say, oh, no, we sent out the text messages, and we, you know, the emergency text message, you know, that message we got the other day, the emergency warning. Oh, we sent those out. And then the news reporters reporting they didn't actually, nobody actually received them. So they're showing you a mirror where, I mean, how would you feel being in a traffic jam where absolutely nothing is moving because the police have the road blocked? And the fire is coming and coming and coming, and sparks are flying everywhere, and the wind is blowing, and there's smoke, and I don't know. That'd be pretty scary. Had to be pretty scary. I mean, she contemplated actually running into the water, which a lot of people did. So again, we're asking that question, and we don't have any answers yet. This is months later. We still don't have any answers because there's a cover-up. And the next video I'm going to show you, this guy returning to his home. Pay attention that it's all the area where it burned is still locked down. And they're waiting, they, quote unquote, they're waiting until they have protective equipment enough for people to go back. And they're letting him in a little at a time. They're going for a little while, then get out. And they've got the masks, and they've got the gear, and they're all suited up. So my question there would be, why is it still locked up, number one? I've never seen that before. And number two, what is so hazardous that they can't be in there? They can't go in. I mean, I would think by now you'd start the rebuilding process to clean up, get the bulldozers in there, clean up the land, and you know, start laying foundation for homes again. Of the Middle East, right? This is a photo from the Middle East. Oh, I'm sorry. No, it's Chicago. This is terrible. She has a sense of humor. This is a hotel in Chicago, one of the fancier hotels. Look at it. And there are all these refugees just sleeping in the lobby there. I don't know. If I were working for that hotel, I would probably quit. But that's just me. Maybe you don't feel that way. Who knows, right? Maybe, I don't know. I wouldn't come into work. not if that's what the lobby looked like. No, I'm coming here because I'm dressing up. I'm putting on a shirt, tie, suit, you know. I'm looking for... And that's what the lobby looks like? Yeah, I don't think so. Another thing that popped up, and I don't know if this is true or not, but it's kind of interesting. This was talking about chatter on the street. Arabs are increasingly convinced that Israel plans to blow up an American aircraft carrier. That would certainly do it, wouldn't it? Of course, if you recall the USS Liberty incident, this would not be a first for the Israelis. I don't know. I'm going to have to ask Master Baggy about that one. Maybe he knows a little bit more and can shed some light on that for us, because I'm not great with military history. I actually grew up in Canada, Carol, as you know, and you know, American history was just not something I grew up with, but fun. So President Trump was in New York again. You know, another day. The witness that was there was for the other side, and he was from the bank. And they asked them about the loans, and they said the loan was perfect. It was paid back. There were no defaults. There were no late payments. We made money on it. There were no problems with it. Wait a minute. He's on the prosecution side. Not supposed to be stepping up for Trump, right? So it was kind of interesting. And then Trump mentions, hey, we've got more video on our friend Letitia there, you know, her campaigning as an anti-Trump candidate. We're going to get him. We're going to get him. We're going to get him. So I was talking about this last night. This is one of these things. We have to really look. We're looking, all of us are looking for the big win, right? A big, big, big win. That's going to come. But it comes on the back of a lot of small wins. So for Trump today, that was a small win, right? They had someone from the prosecution actually saying there's nothing to see here. There's no problem. Everything was fine. So it's a small win. This case will probably just fall apart and go away. They are just trying to damage his reputation. Of course, you know, the golden boomerang, it did the opposite. His poll numbers keep going up every time they go after him like this. So I want you to get in the habit now of looking for the small little wins, right? The little battles here, winning here, a little skirmish here, a little win here, a little win there. That's going to lead us to, that's right, the little popcorn trail, right? That leads us to what? Leads us to the big wins. Now, we're going to have those. And they're going to be a little surprising. I think that none of us are going to really expect them unless we're looking at the little wins along the way. Because a lot of us will get into this, oh, we're so negative, it doesn't work, nothing's happening, we're losing on all fronts. The media wants you to believe that. The other side wants you to believe that. And remember, the media amplifies what the other guys say. And as they amplify it, you start to believe it more and more. And I'm not saying you personally, but you generally start to believe it more and more. So we have to look for those things that point us in the other direction, that point us towards the upcoming wins. So I'm looking for those. I'm always looking for those little, because they're there. Every day there's something. There's a little piece here and a little piece there. And you know, we the people, we're gaining traction. If we look at how many stories we can debunk and how difficult it is for mainstream media now to maintain any kind of narrative. Okay, let's roll the clock back a little bit. What were we talking about in August? Do you remember in August what we were talking about? We were talking about what? Masking is coming back. We heard it from the TSA. They said, you know, by September 15th, it'll be masking in airports. And by October 15th, it'll be masking in airplanes. Let's see. I see here it says October 17th. Do you have to mask in airplanes? Do you have to mask in airports? That went away. They've got Canada. They've got China. They've got Russia. They've got the United States. Right? North Korea. Who else is in there? There's a bunch of countries coming in now, all to this Israeli thing. That's all they've got left. And all of us are going, we're not seeing it. There's no point to this. And as we keep talking about it, it's going to be harder and harder for them to kick it off. Remember, they tried to kick it off on January 6th. Remember, J6 was supposed to be the start of an American civil revolution. That's what they wanted to kick off there. That's why they had all those people in there. They thought as 2 million MAGA people, if they saw there was some skirmish going on, they're all going to come in and they're all armed and it's going to be Armageddon. Didn't happen. We were smarter than that. We didn't take the bait. So they're playing it out anyway. They're putting people in jail and they're still going after them and they're charging them. It didn't happen. They're still playing the playbook, but the play didn't actually happen. It's like, look, the referee blew the whistle 2.5 years ago. Play's over. And they're still going as if the game's still going on. It's not. It's over. We won. We were smarter than that. So we're winning. We're absolutely winning. And Denise, you're right. We are the news now. Absolutely. All of us are. Not just me, not just Lewis. All of you in the chat room, all of you who are watching. And if you're not in the chat room watching live, certainly post in the comments. Because we go back and we read them. Right? We want to know. We want your input. But we are winning, folks. We're winning. And I never thought I'd be doing news. I never thought this would be my thing. If you know my background, I'm a professional speaker. Yeah, I've been in front of on stage a lot, and certainly on national radio and national television and that kind of thing. But I never thought this is what I would be doing. But this is what's required. We're all doing our piece. And I'm going to look back, and you're going to look back when we get to the other side, and you're going to say, I was a part of that. See that? See that win that we had? I was a part of it. I played a role in that. How good is that going to feel? How good is that going to feel? To be able to say that to your kids, to your grandkids, to your friends, your followers. I did something. I didn't sit on my butt. I did something. I shared. I talked. I spoke out. I wore a t-shirt. I joined rememberyouroath.com. I was part of the solution. I didn't hide. This is what this is about. This is your opportunity to be part of that and to be able to live with that badge of honor for the rest of your days. It's my motivation. It's one of them anyway. I want to see this to the other end, but I looked at what my gifts were. My gift is, well, I can speak and I can present and I can understand the news and and I also can do live streaming and I've got a room full of gear. It just fit. This is, but you have things that you can do as well. I don't know what they are. They're different than me, then that's fine. All of us together doing it, we become unstoppable. So I just want to share that with you. I'm going off on my motivational rants again. Oh boy, don't do that, Rob. They're not here for that. Okay, let's back to the news. Rite Aid seeks Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection as it deals with, get this, lawsuits and losses. What are the losses from, do you think? Where do you think the losses are from? Oh, could it be that the sanctuary cities, remember Rite Aid is mostly East Coast, West Coast, not so much Midwest. Could it be that the laws here allowing people to shoplift up to $950 and not be prosecuted. Cops won't even show up. Did they steal more than $1,000? No, they didn't. Okay, no problem. Let them go. Employees can't interfere. Can't stop them. Look at San Francisco. We played that video for you. All the companies that have left. Well, now Rite Aid is filing for Chapter 11. Chapter 11 is different than Chapter 7. Chapter 7 is liquidation. Chapter 11 bankruptcy is restructuring. So they restructure their loans and things like this. This is from AP. Rite Aid has filed for bankruptcy protection and plans to sell part of its business as it attempts to restructure while dealing with losses and opioid-related lawsuits. $30 million they paid out already on opioid-related lawsuits. The company said Rite Aid stores will continue to fill prescriptions and customers will still be able to visit its locations or shop online while it goes through its voluntary Chapter 11 process. But that process will also allow it to speed up its plan to close underperforming stores. So look for Rite Aid's pop, pop, pop going away. Guys, this is a win. Another win. Going through Chapter 11 will help significantly reduce the company's debt while helping to resolve litigation claims in an equitable manner. In other words, we can't pay that. Yeah, you're suing us for $30 million, but we only have one. So, Rite Aid Corp said in its federal bankruptcy filing that it runs more than 2,000 stores. Most of its locations are on the East and West Coasts. In March, the U.S. Justice Department intervened in a whistleblower lawsuit brought by former employees under the False Claims Act. Federal officials said in a statement that the drugstore chain filled at least hundreds of thousands of illegal prescriptions for drugs, including opioids. Now you know where the lawsuit's coming from. The company's filing in U.S. bankruptcy court in New Jersey listed $8.6 billion in total debts and $7.6 billion in assets, so they're $1 billion in the hole. That's a credit card bill I don't want to have. So here we go. Big Pharma is under attack, and they were doing really quotes. Rachel Levine has enforced a mandate that all employees must use preferred pronouns and acknowledge the gender identity of their colleagues. Let's see. The world is on fire. Do you think this is important right now? An internal HHS email outlining the new streamlined policy was obtained and made public by the Heritage Foundation's Roger Saravino. Titled HHS Gender Non-Discrimination and Inclusion Policy, the email begins, Happy National Coming Out Day. I say there's yet another LBGTQ plus minus question mark parentheses holiday. It then notes, when individuals bring their whole selves to work, all of us at HHS thrive. We want to ensure HHS continues to be a welcoming, supportive environment where all employees feel safe and important. Is it really that important? I'm thinking not. I could be wrong. Remember the gag order issued to President Trump yesterday? Judge Chuck Can, C-H-U-T, Chut, K-A-N, Chutkan. The Gateway Pundit says President Trump will be barred from speaking out against Special Counsel Jack Smith. Now, this is an update from what we knew yesterday. It goes a little bit further. Judge Chutkan laughed at Trump's lawyers before telling them that Trump does not have unfettered First Amendment rights. I guess he's not an American citizen, right? Because I think we all have those. Is it just me? She laughed at Trump's lawyer, John Lauro, who argued the current conditions are working, and saying she disagreed before she went through some of Trump's statements one by one, and said Trump doesn't have unfettered First Amendment rights, and that there's no question that the court is entitled to draw restrictions to ensure fair administration of justice. According to her gag order, Trump cannot criticize Special Counsel Jack Smith or any of his prosecutors, even if he's telling the truth. Huh? You can't criticize someone? Even if you're truthful about it, you can't criticize them? She didn't state the penalties for violating the gag order, but we assume it will either be jail or fines. We don't know. She didn't really say. So, yeah. Trump can't say anything. And I really believe they're setting traps for him because, it's such a broad thing. And it's like, there's no way you and I could have a conversation if we were gagged like this, that something wouldn't come out that they couldn't pick apart and say, look, you violated the terms of the gag order. And I think this is what they're going to do. They're going to scrutinize every word he says at a campaign event, or, you know, in his airplane, or, you know, there's going to be people watching. And, you know, everything that he posts, everything that he says is going to be scrutinized. And I think that's part of the game, is they really got to stop him because, again, too much momentum, too many of us behind him and supporting him. Pat yourselves on the back, people. We're doing good. We're doing something good here. All right. California. Phoebe was out at the store today and she found this, and I thought this was worth sharing. It says, as of January 1st, this is a garden supply store for farming, so it's more professional than the Home Depot kind of thing. As of January 1st, 2024, there will be a new law in place to prevent us from purchasing gasoline-powered equipment. This covers most every piece of handheld power equipment under 45 cc's. All blowers are part of this ban, all walk-behind mowers, all riding power equipment under 25 horsepower, anything we have in stock and we'll be able to sell going into next year. However, we can carry and stock only so much. So whatever they have in stock after January 1st, they can sell, and when it's gone, it's gone. If you rely heavily on gas-powered equipment, a landscaper, a grove manager, or own acres of land, then we suggest you plan ahead and stock up on equipment before it's no longer easily available here in California. Yeah. So, the interesting thing here, maybe the thing you hadn't realized, is that there aren't battery-powered solutions on the market that are viable. If you're a landscaper, you go from house to house, right? And that weed whacker is on. It's on for an hour. Then you go to the next place, on for another hour. What are they going to do? They're going to carry a truck full of batteries? It's not viable. It's not viable. Phoebe was pretty mad when she saw this, and she said, "What's going on here?" I said, "Well, you know, they passed that law. I want to look for this law because I remember them talking about it, but I don't remember that it got passed. It's probably one of these things. They passed it, you know, on Sunday. Gavin Newsom tends to do that. He signs laws on a Sunday. So there's no media coverage. I think that's what happened here because I didn't see it. Didn't see it coming. I didn't see that it was, interesting. Craziness. A battery-powered weed whacker. How long is that going to last if you're a landscaper and you're going from house to house? You're going to be, going,